Yo, Joe. Talking comics, here's your host. It's A Real American Brian.
All right, we're back to read some more G.I. Joe. Issue number 7. This is part 2 of the story, continuing from the previous issue. We have Stalker and Colonel Brekov back-to-back holding off some Cobra troopers on the cover. And now they fight together against the greatest evil in the world. Pretty cool cover brought to us by Herb Trimpe and Chick Stone. Walls of Death. Herb Trimpe is plotting and penciling this issue, and Larry Hama is handling the scripts. We get a recap of the last issue. In the mountains of Afghanistan, the G.I. Joe team have fought their Russian counterparts, the October Guard, to a standstill, only to be overwhelmed by Cobra Commander and a small army of Cobra Commandos. The prize, the remnants of a top-secret Soviet aircraft that had crashed in the Hindu Kush foothills. Then Cobra Commander is doing what evil leaders do, sitting around bragging about his well-crafted plot to pit the Joes against the October Guard, and then swoop in and take them both out. And of course we have to have a roll call of all the characters that we're going to be talking about here. So we have the October Guard, Stormovik, Shrog, Horror Show, Diana, and Colonel Brekov, and the insufferable G.I. Joe team, Stalker, Scarlet, Steeler, Flash, Clutch, and Breaker. Cobra Commander sends the aircraft parts back to their stronghold and leaves 2 troopers behind to execute the Joes and October Guard. One of the Cobras left behind is named Copperhead, but he is not the Copperhead that we would get later. It's just the same name, I guess. Breaker and Clutch began planning an escape as they subtly look over at the Vamp. And just as the Cobra troopers decide it's time to kill them, the gun mount on the Vamp activates and shoots them. Clutch reveals that he had a remote control in his shirt that he worked to save them all. Breaker then reveals that he secretly put a locator transmitter on the RTV before Cobra took it. Stalker and Brekov discuss the situation and agree that they need to work on the same side. There is no reason for them to be fighting each other over the aircraft parts that Cobra now has. Scarlet reminds Stalker of their original orders. If they lost the cargo, they were to break radio silence and contact Hawk to get them out of here. Stalker puts his foot down, telling the Joes he is in charge of this mission, and he is making a field command to go after the cargo. The Joes and the October Guard discuss the situation. While they can work together to get the parts back, once they get to that point, they will be forced to fight each other over the cargo again. Both teams load up and follow the locator, and it takes them across the Iranian border. They run into a border patrol, and together they take them out and continue on without slowing down. We get this cool, fun panel here, a little exchange between the two sides, though. Well, so much for Iranian-American relations. Another example of American imperialist aggression. But the two sides arrive together at the Cobra stronghold and can't find any opening in the completely smooth walls. Stalker puts on the jump jet, which we are told is another acronym name. It is the Jet Unit Mobile Propulsion, which would seem a little redundant then it is a jet. Either way, he flies off to take a closer look at the stronghold. Cobra Commander is preaching about how the technology they are able to pull from the Russian aircraft will help them to conquer the entire world, when he is interrupted and told there are intruders in their airspace. He sees Stalker, and then it is pointed out that the others are watching from the plateau. Cobra Commander is pissed that the 2 troops he left behind didn't wipe out 11 highly skilled soldiers. Pretty sure he could have spared some more men or taken control of such an important job himself. Then Cobra Commander collects himself, and he isn't worried. He announces that he will let them enter the stronghold and observe them and then crush them. The Joes report back that there is a strange design on top of the stronghold. The October Guard tell them that they have an alarm interference device, and it is agreed that one of the October Guard will take it on the roof along with 2 Joes. So Steeler and Breaker are going to the roof with Shrog. The remaining October Guard will take the south wall. The Joes will take the north wall and leave 1 man behind to cover each penetration point. The Cobra sensors pick up everyone outside, and they know exactly what is going on. The Joes ascend to the roof and see the October Guard counterpart there. The Joes are outside the wall. Before they could use the laser rifle to break through the wall, a door opens for them. Everyone on the roof is discussing the markings and how they resemble a hot plate when Cobra Commander issues the order to burn the ones on the roof. Clutch is getting worried as he has lost radio contact with the breaker. Then in this last panel, we see a gun pointed at him from behind as he is contacting Stalker. Inside, the other side of this radio conversation is going on in the stronghold, but it gets cut short, and Stalker lets the Joes know they are on their own. Cobra Commander orders someone to scoop up the unconscious soldiers on the roof and step up the termination of the intruders. The Joes run into their first booby trap and are able to duck out of the way just in time, but Stalker does lose his beret in the process. The Joes continue on through the stronghold and reach a dead end, but Stalker realizes he is standing on a trip release, and the wall in front of them falls down. Then they hear something coming from behind them. Our Joes are deep into a full-on Goonies adventure now. The noise was water. The tunnel is being flooded. The walls are too smooth to grab onto, but Scarlet finds a crack to wedge one of her throwing stars into. Using her crossbow to hook onto the throwing star, they all now have something to hold on to. They realize there's a giant pit in front of them, but rather than turn back, they press forward. Cobra troopers talking to the commander decide to activate Operation Doppelganger, since they haven't taken out the Joes or October Guard yet. As we go back to the Joes, they have run into a literal snake pit full of cobras. But Flash makes easy work of the cobras. And then, as Stalker mentions he's seeing light at the end of the tunnel, it is full of Cobra troopers that begin firing at them. Stalker decides he's had enough of them and just tosses them a grenade. Behind the Cobra troopers is a blast door. Stalker reveals he has been carrying C4 in his backpack and proceeds to blow the door. Just as they get inside, they see October Guard standing there waiting for them. The October Guard captured a Cobra trooper, took him hostage, and made him tell them how to get past all the traps. Much easier than the Joe's strategy. Colonel Brekov announces that Cobra Commander has run away when he is interrupted by the commander, who announces he is going to handle killing them himself this time. A trooper behind Cobra Commander sneaks up and hits him over the head and is revealed to be Clutch. With a gun to the commander's head, he orders the Cobra troopers to drop their weapons. Clutch tells the Joes to get into the RTV, and he and Stalker will be behind them in the vamp with Cobra Commander as insurance. The October Guard can't allow the Joes to take the cargo. They decide to shoot the hostage, and it is revealed that it wasn't Cobra Commander. There was a loudspeaker in his chest the commander was using. An image of Cobra Commander pops up on the video monitor, but the Joes aren't interested in listening to him and continue packing into the vehicles to get out. As Deanna attempts to get onto the vamp to get to safety, Stalker stiff arms her off and leaves her behind. The Joes escape the stronghold, leaving October Guard inside, and Clutch reveals how he got there to save them. He saw the trooper sneaking up on him from behind and threw his radio at them. After taking him out, he stole his uniform and walked right into the stronghold. In the epilogue, Hawk reveals the truth of the mission to Stalker. The plane parts were removed yesterday, and the cargo boxes the Joes have are full of scrap metal. The Joe team was used as a decoy. So had the Joes listened to Scarlet and got out of there when they lost the cargo, everything would have been fine. Of course, Hawk comes off as a real jerk here, not having much compassion for the soldiers he just sent into harm's way for nothing. My favorite panel from this issue is this nice large panel of the two squads rolling up on the Iranian border. You get to see everyone involved in the hunt, and they're all ready for action. You know things are about to get down to business. And it's all laid out very well. You get to see everybody clearly in the two vehicles. The October Guard vehicle, not the most impressive looking thing here, but still, my favorite panel of the book. I loved it. This issue had a lot of action, and several times the Joes were put through into some tough spots they had to work out of. It was quite a fun adventure. I'm going to give this one 4 flag points. And that is issue 7, Knowing is Half the Battle, and Now You Know. So subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video where we will dive into issue number 8.
You've been watching a Real American Brian production in association with the letters G, I, and JOE.